Hello again, my friends. So I have managed to restart the live stream. I'm just going to wait for a few of you to get on here. Oh my God. Like, I'm literally sweating here because obviously the mic went in the last one. So I've obviously deleted, yes, round two. I've deleted the last one. So yeah. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. This is great. I'm really sorry. I panic. Obviously, I'm like, I really don't know why this happens or what has happened. I was just saying earlier, for those of you who just come on here, I'm like literally panicking. I'm sweating here. Like literally, there are sweat beads. If you saw me, I'm like, oh my God. So I don't know what happens. And I'm really sorry. I don't know how to fix it. I actually am so crap when it comes to like, when you have to do anything technical, I like freeze because I just don't know. So anyway, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So this is the second stream. The last one is obviously, like I said, is going to get deleted. But today we are talking about the lasting damage of narcissistic abuse. So I'm just going to wait for a few of you guys to get on here. I'm really sorry that it had to. Yang, I haven't got my phone here. I've left it in the other room. Sorry. Um, you didn't have to restart it. Oh, I didn't know. Do you know what, Yang? Don't worry. Like I'll just redo it. It's fine. Murphy's law. Whatever can go wrong will. I know. Like, but you know what? You know what we should learn from this? And maybe I should say this here. Okay. Things always happen. Like, stuff goes down, doesn't it? And I think, like with me, with the tech stuff, I have no clue how to sort it out. I really don't. And what happens for me, I automatically go into like panic mode. I'm like, oh my God. I remember like now today wasn't too bad, but I remember when I first started out, Yang, you'll probably remember this. I literally, oh my God, I was just so petrified, scared. I felt so guilty. My anxiety was like through the roof. I was so worried because I was like, oh my God, how do I fix this? But now, do you know what, guys? Things are inevitably going to go wrong in life. And we just got to be. I know you did. I know you set it all up. Hello, Ivan, and hello, Petrus. You know what? We just got to go with the flow, guys. I think that's ultimately it, isn't it? In the end, you just got to go with the flow because what are you going to do? Like, yeah, exactly, Ricardo. It's all about resilience. It's all like, do you know what? If we can't fix it, okay, well, we've tried. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. But we are here now. The mic is working temporarily. I don't know what it's got a mind of its own, this thing. It really does. I don't know why it just didn't work. Yeah, Phil, do you know what I mean? Exactly that. Embrace the suck. It is just not good. It is sometimes. It's just so bad. But anyway, guys, so I hope that you're all well. I really do hope that you've had a good few weeks. I know that I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, so I am really sorry about that. Hopefully, we can get more to it, like for me, not you guys, but for me to get to more of a regular schedule in terms of streaming weekly. I'm hoping to do that, but you know what? Sometimes life takes over, so it's not always easy. But we are here now. And today we are talking about the lasting damage. So I've made notes, my friends. I've made notes so I don't babble on and I talk what I need to talk about. Do you know what I mean? Because you know me. I have hello, Scott. Really lovely of you to join. And Marnie as well, Dr. Marnie. Great topic of today's live. The damage these narcissists do actually ramp up after you leave or they discard you. It's the most dangerous time for the targets. Narcissists are obsessed with your destruction. Yeah, like big time. They want to see you crumble. And I've done so many videos about when the narcissist leaves, they want to see you on the floor. But if you're not on the floor and you're doing all right, they're going to make sure that they leave you there or they destroy you. And the reason for that is, remember, all of this narcissism, everything that they are experiencing or feeling, this is all ego-based behavior. Like, I mean, I always say this, like, who does this? Like, who wants to see you do badly in life, or who wants to destroy you, or who is jealous to that level, to that level, to cause that kind of damage, to cause that type of destruction. And that, my friends, that is what is so damaging, is that Just knowing that somebody would want to see you do so badly in your life and take you down, that's next level, isn't it, my friends? And I know so many of us, especially here, we have gone through that. We have experienced this. But one thing that you've got to remember is how resilient you all are. You know that? Because you guys are here, you're still standing. And I know that a lot of us have experienced this. And at the time, we feel like our whole entire world is crumbling. Well, of course it is. Like, we're not understanding why this person is doing this, like what is their intention. And I think there's an element of this is we can't believe it's happening because it is so sinister. You're absolutely right, Eldon. I really love that. Your job is to evolve into the light. The narcissist resolves into the dust. Breathe, Anoushka. Thank you. Thank you, Eldon. I appreciate that. You guys are so sweet. Thank you, all of you. Narcissist Hex says, as a self aware diagnosed narcissist, I've heard of all kinds of health issues that happen to victims. Yes, everything from, I can never say this word. I'm really sorry. I'm going to say it wrong. And I know I am. The fibromyalgia to cancers, the health effects are sometimes permanent. Yes, they are. They are. And I think it's really important that we talk about this today. And what I do want to say is, even though some of you may be experiencing this right now, or maybe you have done, I just want you to know that actually you can get better from this. You can move forward from this. I don't want you to think that you are going to stay stuck in this condition, because there is always a way forward. And you know what? There is such thing as self-healing. So even though I'm going to be talking about a lot of the stuff, a lot of the topics, or a lot of the concepts today here on the live, it may trigger some of you. So I'm obviously, like, I'm really sorry that it will do. But please know that there is always a way out of this, and there's always a way forward. So please don't think just because you're at this stage, in the recovery of this journey, or you feel like they're trying to destroy you and they're trying to just take everything from you. Remember, they cannot take nothing from you. Meaning, all right, financially they might be able to take you down, emotionally they won't be able to, psychologically they won't be able to, and spiritually they won't be able to, because you know what? Because you're stronger than that. You're going to go down like that? No, you're not. Okay, so you need to fight for you. All right, and that is what is most important. You are not going to go out like this, my friends. You are not. Okay. And that's what I need you to repeat to yourselves, is that, okay, you've had this nasty person in your life. They tried to put you down. They tried to take so much from you, but you are not going down like that. Okay. And that's what you need to remember. All right. This is a mindset. This is a mindset. This is your belief about you. Okay. So that is how this is going to happen. All right, my friends. So let's get into the live. So hold on. What are we talking about today? We are going to be talking about the effects of narcissistic abuse. We're going to be talking about recognizing the signs of long-lasting damage. And we are going to be talking about discussing the paths to healing. All right, because healing is possible. And my friends, it's so going to happen. Okay. It doesn't mean that, like I said, sorry, I'm really fidgeting today. It doesn't mean that you are going to be stuck in this. Okay. So let's get into this. So hello everyone that is here. I'm really I'm really sorry that if I haven't said hi to any of you. I see you. I'm very grateful that you are here. Okay. So let's get into this. So how does narcissistic abuse affect the mind? So what we're going to be doing in this section here, we're going to be exploring the cognitive and the psychological impact of this type of specific abuse. So the first thing that I really want to mention here is the trauma bonding. Okay. And why, for so many of us, it has been so hard to leave. And I know that we didn't want to, because we're the type of people that are like, oh, okay, you know what? We want to make this work. We love this person. We don't want to give up on something. We're gonna do this. All right. We're going to not go out like this. We really love this person. But I think it's taken a lot for us to realize that actually, is this really worth it? Okay. And particularly added onto that, we have been trauma bonded to this person. So let's really understand what trauma bonding is. What it is a strong, addictive, emotional attachment that forms between the victim and the narcissist. And that's all due to cycles of positive and negative reinforcement. And it is exactly what it says on the tin, a bond that is caused by trauma. Okay. And it is so addictive. Oh my God. And it's so hard to leave. I know that so many of you have been through this, and it's just next level, isn't it, my friends? It's really hard. And I think another thing is that when you're in it, you don't actually realize that you're actually in that type of attachment or a bond with this person. And isn't it funny, okay, that it is only caused in these types of relationships? It's not if this was a healthy relationship, you wouldn't be trauma bonded. You wouldn't be feeling like this. And this is why it makes it so hard to leave. Okay. And I think another thing is throughout the whole relationship or the whole time that you're with this person, you don't realize that what is happening is cycles of positive and negative reinforcement. Because, okay, you're in a relationship with someone. Who would think that you're in a relationship with someone who is sadistic, who is nasty, who wants to see your downfall, who is just, you just don't believe that somebody like this exists. And I think that's what it is. It's like when the penny drops, when you finally realize what you are dealing with, there's a whole level of trying to even accept that this is even true. Because even getting your head around it, like, guys, I can completely understand. Like, how many of you, when you read about narcissistic abuse, think, no, 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 that's not me. That wasn't happening to me. Like, or were you like, oh my God, what the hell? Put it in the comments, guys, because I do want to hear from you. Like, what, if you want to, if you want to share it, like, obviously, if you want to share it, like, what was happening? What was going through your mind? So, like, in my experience, I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way that something like this exists. I was so dismissive. I was like, I can't believe it. No, someone wouldn't do this to me. Because I think for a lot of us, when we realize what we're reading here is something out of a horror movie, isn't it? Like, you're thinking, what on earth? It is just, it's like mind altering. Like, how could you, can't even believe that what you're reading in front of you is the truth. Like, does this even really exist? Guys, please do hit the like button. Obviously, like, I know that all of you are on the chat, but those of you that are, thank you so much for participating in the live. But please, please smash that like button. There's a lot of you here, and I've only got 36 live likes. It also helps with the algorithm to get this information out there. So thanks, guys. LM says, do you find there is an age difference between the narcissists and the targets? In the narcissists, usually older. Do you know what, LM? I haven't actually noticed that. I don't think that is a thing. I don't think that there is. I don't think that there is like an age difference or an age gap relationship. I just think that thank you so much, guys, for the likes. Oh wow, it's gone up significantly. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah, like, I don't think I haven't noticed that there is any statistics or there is anything in it, but, like, obviously, there could be, maybe, I don't know, maybe if there is like an older male, younger woman, because the younger woman is easier to manipulate. There is no statistics in this. This is just purely my opinion. But there could be something in it, but I don't find that narcissists are usually older. I think in that case, you could probably be looking at, if they're older, then the person who is younger is easier to manipulate, easier to control. So yes, thank you for the hearts, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Deb says, hi Anoushka. I always felt so alone and depressed being raised by two foolish people. They didn't provide typical parenting. I had to dive deep into myself and figure it all out. Oh, Deb, bless you, my friend. Like, it's not fair. It's not easy, but this was your experience. This was your kind of like childhood experience. And I know that that isn't easy when, you are trying to raise yourself, but you know what, my friend, you are here. You figured it out. Like, you've done such an amazing job on yourself, on working through it. And I know that this has probably maybe left you vulnerable in some areas in life, but this is where now we can self-parent, and that's another important thing. And I was going to talk about this in the live stream a little bit later on, but the beauty of this is that we can self-parent, even though that perhaps maybe we have had these traumatic or these challenging experiences when we have been so young. But now, as we get older, more cognitively switched on as adults, we can make more informative choices for us, and but also in terms of self-parenting as well. So it is this is like what I was saying right at the beginning. It doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck in that mindset or stuck thinking that or be in that place. No, we're constantly evolving. We do not stay the same. And I think that is the beauty of this. I know sometimes we might not want to go forward, or we might not want to, or we're comfortable with being, feeling stuck or being stuck in that position because it's easier, it's more familiar. But life is always flowing. So we have to go with the flow. The more that we resist it, the more harder life gets for us. And I guess sometimes many of us don't even get a choice. Like you guys. Like you, my friends, on this journey, you didn't even get a choice whether you wanted to be on this journey or not. You are. And we just have to go forward with it. That's the thing. So, yes. You're welcome, Deb. You're welcome, my friend. Oh, sending you a big hug. Okay, so going back to the trauma bond, narcissists create this bond by alternating kindness and cruelty, love bombing, and then devaluation. And so can you see, like, this is why it makes it so much harder to leave, because they're really nice one moment and they're absolutely disgusting the next. And you're like, when they're awful, when they're horrible to you, you think, oh, this is why we make excuses. We make excuses for people's behavior because we just do. But also, if we make excuses, it's not really happening. It's not really real. Sometimes reality can be too painful. So when we're making excuses for their behavior, this also keeps us stuck. This also is reinforcement of the trauma bond. So by alternating the kindness and the cruelty, we're thinking, okay, even though they're not being very nice to us, we then think, oh, but they were really kind, they were really nice, like yesterday or the day before. They don't really mean it. And so when you're making up excuses and not really looking at what is in front of you, this is where also you are kind of like lying to yourself. But also I feel like it's a trauma response as well. It's not like you're doing it intentionally, but it's also like a trauma response to be able to kind of cope with the current situation. So it keeps you hooked and it also keeps you confused. So that is the issue, my friends. It does, they do this because if you're confused, you're not going to see the truth. And if you're emotionally hooked on this person, you're not going to leave. Remember, it's a trap. It's a trap. That's why they do it. And I think when we have that final realization, or when we have the realization that we are in something that is really toxic, something that isn't good for us, something that is really damaging, I feel like that is when we look at it and think, is this really happening to me? Is this really real? You know, and also having to accept that you're in something that is really toxic. So, trauma bonding, when you're in it, it's an intense longing for that person, for that narcissist. You have this intensity of emotion, despite knowing that the relationship that you're in, or that connection that you're in, or maybe it's your parents, which is equally as hard as well. You know, okay, that what they are doing is so harmful. And that's why you're constantly justifying the narcissist behavior, or you're feeling that you're not able to leave. And I think guilt plays a huge part in it as well, where you feel like you don't want to abandon this person, or you don't want to leave, because if it's like a partner or it's your parents, you think, oh, they didn't mean it. So it's really hard. Okay. It's really hard when you have this intense longing. And I think it's a double edged sword, because when you're in that state, you're thinking, oh, if I could just talk to them, or if they could just be nice to me. maybe I could explain it, but all you need is that person to make it better or to take that pain away. But yet they are that person that has caused the trauma in the first place. And it's one of the most weirdest feelings you could ever kind of experience. Do you know what I mean, my friends? Like like, do you guys know what I mean? Like, because it's so hard. It's that longing, isn't it? Because that is the hook. That is the bonding. And also, when you're trauma bonded to someone, this is similar to an addiction. Yes, because it's the same neural pathways that are activated, the same neural networks and neurotransmitters that are activated, um, as you being addicted to a substance. You're addicted to this person because of the intermittent reinforcement. Can you see how powerful that actually is? Um, so leaving can feel really challenging as breaking free from, some kind of addiction to a substance, because your mind, okay, it's your mind that is craving the highs and the lows. And that's all because of the dopamine intake and the adrenaline intake. So that is what your mind is craving because you have had, or you have been in that state, that mind state for such a long time. It becomes almost normal. It becomes almost like a placebo effect. It's the homeostasis, all right, of having this rush of dopamine, rush of cortisol, adrenaline, that toxic cocktail, and you are craving those chemicals, those neurochemicals, those hormones. Okay. So that is why it makes it also really hard to be able to leave a trauma bond. Yes. Stephen says, think the older you are, it's harder to recover from the trauma we are subjected to. Stephen Brown, my friend, don't say this, because then what you are doing is you are telling yourself that it is harder for you to recover. Stephen, you are going to recover from this. Okay, my friend, you are not going to stay here thinking this. It doesn't matter what age you are, because the brain does not distinguish the age. Okay, if you are young, if you are old, and also, how do you define who someone is young and and someone is old? Remember, it's not your age is a number. You are defined by your energy. Okay, my friend. So, Stephen, you are not old and you are going to get over this. Okay, because even if you are 18, 25, 35, 45, 105, okay, your brain is still going to be producing those neurochemicals, those hormones, in the same way that you would if you were 5, no, maybe not 5, 25 or 35, like, it's going to be the same thing. So getting over a trauma bond, whether you are 30 or 60 or 80, is the same thing. So don't say you're not too old, and you will recover from this. Scott said, I had a ring different from everyone else. So when she called and text, I got a rush. Yeah, this is the dopamine, this is the adrenaline, and this is that cortisol, Scott. Yeah, I know. It's so addictive, isn't it? It's so addictive. You're like, oh my God, they've called. But you know that it's bad. You know what I mean? Deb says, I dated 3 narcissists. Oh, bless you. Oh no. Okay, still single. Lol. It's hard to find a spiritually enlightened partner, but they are out there. You know what, Deb? Never give up. Do not give up, because these people are out there and you will find that person. But ultimately, you got to keep doing the work on yourself. I know that there is a lot of triggers that we have. There's a lot of things that that come up, like trust issues and things like that. So I completely understand that this could feel like a never ending thing. But yeah, we are never too old to recover. We are never too old to find someone and be happy in a relationship, for sure. Absolutely. You're welcome, Stephen. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're young anyway. I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. Okay. So we're next going to be talking about cognitive dissonance and self-doubt, because I feel like this is another part of this. So How many of you have experienced this cognitive dissonance? I'm going to explain it here so that we can understand what it actually is. So, cognitive dissonance is a mental conflict, basically, that happens when someone holds, like you've got contrary beliefs or values. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, in a narcissistic relationship, you'll often find that you'll experience cognitive dissonance as you try to reconcile with the narcissist's charming side with their abusive side. So, what I mean by that is you might think that they love me, but they hurt me. Or they say I'm important, but they constantly ignore me or belittle me. So it's two contrary kind of statements or beliefs about yourself. Um, so basically it's part of so these are the effects of gaslighting. So they bend your reality, make you believe something else is the truth when it's not. So it's an internal conflict that leads to confusion, anxiety, and then what happens is you have this intense desire to rationalize. This is where you're overthinking, or you're excusing the narcissist behavior to ease the discomfort because you're so triggered. There's so much anxiety that's going on. So ultimately, you are trying to find a middle ground here because the narcissist saying, I love you. I really, really love you, but they've beaten you or they've been nasty or they've cheated on you. So it's two contrary kind of statements. Well, if you love someone, you're not going to cheat on them, right? Or you're not going to hurt them in that way, or you're not going to hurt them intentionally. So that's a contradictory statement. Also, you'll probably be blamed saying things. They might say things like, "Well, you made me do it," or "You deserved it." Like things like that. So it will put you down. It will make you feel like you are the issue or that you deserved it in some way. So that is what cognitive dissonance is. And I feel like, psychologically, that is so damaging because it affects the way that we see ourselves. It affects our self esteem, our self worth, and definitely our confidence. And also how we trust people, meeting new people. Can you trust people? And I'm going to talk about this because I think this is a huge thing. So I'm going to be talking about trust as well. But I just want to get into like seeing what you guys are saying. Um, the chat's going so quickly. Sorry if I missed your comments. Sorry, my friends. I do want to read them and acknowledge every single one of you. Um, So Craig says, 22 years, I left 2 times and she got back in. Craig, oh no, this third time, I had enough. I forgot who I was. I'm healing now and enjoying my freedom. Craig, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you have left and you are enjoying your freedom and that you are moving forward. This, this is the most important. Absolutely. This is the most important. Um, Brett says, Anushka, if you have proof that the narcissist has lied to you about something major, should you confront them with the evidence or is it a waste of time? Brett, my friend, don't. Okay. If you are going to confront them, number one, please expect that they're not going to tell you the truth or they're going to tell you something that you want to hear. Second of all, they are not going to validate your evidence or kind of look at it and think, oh, you know what, you're right. They're never going to say this because that's not going to happen. And also think about if you do confront them with that evidence, is it going to make any difference to you or to the situation? Because if it's not, leave it. It's not going to have a huge effect, or you're not going to get the answer that you're looking for. Do you know what I mean? That's another thing that you need to think about. Hello, Mark. Yeah, so true. I was doing so well with no contact, and then had to see her collect my daughter, and she was dressed up to the nines, and that just knocked me back days. Oh, bless you, Mark. You know what? That was done intentionally, for sure. That for sure was done intentionally to get you to have this effect. So, Mark, what that says to me is that she's playing mind games with you, and there is definitely some type of an agenda to make you feel a certain type of way. So, just be aware that that is what's going on. And try and just kind of like know that why would someone be doing that? Like, why would someone do that? So, again, try and see past the behavior. I know it's so hard when you still love that person, when you're still emotionally involved. I know it's not easy. I know it is. And it's a process. And Mark, you are on the right road. So, yeah, like try and see past that. Yes. Kevin says, context, it took them 2 years to realize I was grey rocking them. Goodness, they didn't click it, first of all. Oh, wow. So maybe they were oblivious. Deb says, when you truly understand how they are not there for your support, it's all time wasted with them. Yes. And that's why, my friends, you have your life back. You have your energy and your time. And that's where you need to start concentrating on yourselves and working, and moving forward. Okay. That is what is the most important. So, a lot of this stuff, okay, can also impact your self-trust and your decision making. So cognitive dissonance leads you to question your own perception, your own judgment. And like when you're overthinking, when you're doing so much thinking, and also the all of this is so emotionally loaded, it makes you feel foggy, like mentally foggy. And also another bad thing about cognitive dissonance is that it makes you feel unsure of what's real and what's not. And so that's where that overthinking, like your mind is literally overworking all the time. It's like thinking this, but maybe it was this, but maybe it was that. And you never know. You don't even know what is real and what's not. And that is what is so damaging as well, isn't it? So over time, this constant questioning that's going on of your own beliefs, what happens is your instinct erodes your self-trust. And and the damaging part of this is that it what happens over a certain period of time, it leads you to rely on the narcissist perspective. Okay. And that's further trapping you in the relationship. And also for those of you that are out of the relationship, this is gonna make you feel even more trapped, but you're not actually with them. So this is like so confusing. You don't know whether you're coming or going. You don't know what's real and what's not. So this is where it has such dire effects, on your decision making, your ability to make decisions, to be able to trust the decision that you have made, but also to trust yourself. Okay. So, if you are in this scenario, if you are in this, what I would suggest for you to start doing is self trust exercises. So, for example, like making and honoring your personal decisions. Doesn't matter how big or small they are. Okay, so it's things like daily routines or meal preferences. So, for example, you might think, oh, today I really fancy a spaghetti bolognese. But then, perhaps maybe you've gone out to get the ingredients and you're thinking, maybe I should have a pizza. No, maybe a pizza. Or maybe I should have something a little bit more healthy, or maybe I should have something different. Just these small trust exercises. Remember, I always say this, guys, this is all about connection to self. So that is what I'm saying to you. Like, it is so important for you to, like to start to trust yourself. So doing these types of little exercises will really help you. And also, I'm going to encourage you to journal your thoughts and feelings. Perhaps maybe after interactions with a narcissist, if you have to still be in contact with them. But if you don't, start to journal your thoughts and your feelings to identify the patterns of where self-doubt is, and to also build self-awareness and connection to self, because this will really help you. So basically, journaling, my friends, is like literally having a conversation with yourself. Okay, so that's why it's always comforting, that's why it's always kind. Like, that is really important to help you to, because what this will do, like whatever you write, in your journal entry, you'll be able to identify, like that patterns of self-doubt, and you'll be able to build self-awareness and connection to self. Okay, I also do have the journal club, so I'm just saying, if you wanted to join, you can also do that. That's not a problem. So the next part I really wanted to look at is also the negative self-image and the erosion of your self-esteem. And I feel like this is huge because I think so many of us, I think like literally 85 to 90% of us come out of these relationships and we're like the statement that we say is like we're like literally a shell of our former selves because it does take away so much, of our self-esteem, our confidence, and we don't feel like we can be ourselves because we feel like so much of ourselves is missing. It's gone. Our confidence is gone. And a confidence is part of us. It's part of who we are. It's part of our beliefs. It's part of our values. It's part of like how we understand and make sense of ourselves in the world. And that is just taken from us. Okay. So, and the reason why is because what narcissists do, they destroy your self-esteem. So by using gaslighting, so they're lying literally to your face. They lie to your face. Okay. Um, so again, you doubt yourself and you think, well, what's real and what's not? Then there's the criticism. And also, let's not forget the constant comparisons to undermine you. So you're always criticized, you're always undermined, you're always not good enough, you've always done something wrong. And also, let's not forget, it's always your fault. So how are you going to feel? Like, think about it, right? How are you going to feel? How are you supposed to make sense of all of this when this is going on? And over years, and I'm not even talking about weeks or months or whenever they get angry. This is like over years. And this is where it becomes really damaging, doesn't it, my friends? Like, it's just next level, isn't it? Dennis says it's like how to become a force of positive therapeutic energy, even when impacted yourself, the reality of damaged goods. Guys, you are not damaged goods. Dennis, you are also not damaged goods. All right. We can heal all of this. We can heal it. Okay. This is just temporary. That's what I'm trying to say. It is temporary. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you. Thank you. I just literally have seen that now. I'm just going to finish this section and I will talk about lasting abuse, BPT, lasting abuse. Thank you. And I will talk about it because I haven't forgotten, Lewis. Will you give me 5 minutes and then will you send that same message to me? Thank you. Eldon says you get knocked down, but you get up again. Yes, exactly. Deb says, also grieving the loss helps you to move forward and accept of their inability to love you. Yeah, because we've got to love ourselves first. Okay, that's what we've got to do. You guys are absolutely right. Okay. So, and also adding to the fact that what destroys your self-esteem, because you've got, when you are always told, or whether that's subtly or whether that's in your face or overtly, you're told that you're not good enough or you're too sensitive or you are undeserving of better treatment. And this can lead you to basically internalize these negative beliefs. And it makes you believe that, yeah, you're just not good enough or you don't deserve something. And that's where this really does destroy your self-esteem and your belief in yourself. You've also got added to this the loss of identity and your sense of self. So I think one of the main reasons or one of the ways that this is done is, how the narcissist uses mirroring. I feel like they don't just use it right at the beginning of the relationship. I think they use it throughout, but it's particularly more prevalent in the beginning stages. So what happens is that is really all about reflecting your desires and your traits to create a feeling of closeness. All right. So this is what they do. They mirror you, they see you, and they literally copy you. So they literally mirror your behavior. And what happens is once they get to do that, once they do that and understand the way that you tick, the way that you think, the way that you do things, the way that you are, they then devalue you and project all of this onto you. So this causes you to feel fragmented and disconnected from your authentic self because you get to know who you are or the way or how you are, your sense of self. Um, you develop that quite early on, in, I would say, your sense of self develops usually around 7 years of age onwards. So like your ego that develops and then carries on, your understanding of yourself or your perception of yourself. So ever since that age until that narcissist comes into your life and they cause this fragmentation and this disconnection from you, that is where you then start to doubt yourself and you start to think, I mean, what they're saying is just true. Like I thought I knew myself. And this will make you feel like you've lost who you are. And what happens for some of us, we mold in or we blend in to the narcissist's personality. We get to see that actually what they are like, what they are doing. So we get to blend in to what they are like. So we kind of like the narcissist wants you to be like them or believe them. Hope that makes sense. Um, PH Joy, do you keep your journal do you keep your journal writings? I understand the process is helpful, but it's painful to reread. Although I wonder if the reminder is helpful if I look back in my journal. That's a great question, PH Joy. So, for example, I don't reread it. I just don't, because for me, for example, when I'm journaling, for me, it's just like literally a brain dump. So I don't tend to read it back. But listen, this is a personal journey. And I think, PH Joy, if you're going to be reading back on those journal entries, and if they're going to trigger you or make you feel a certain way, then perhaps maybe I would say avoid doing that at the moment. But then maybe later on in time, maybe that could be something that you do. But ultimately, if it's painful for you to do that, don't do it. Don't put yourself through it, because it could be triggering. Like it could be, like, I know it's good to look back and think how far you have come, for sure, definitely, because you guys are, like, you do get stronger. You are working, going forward, but just protect yourself emotionally. If that is what you feel is happening, if it's going to trigger you, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. That's what I was saying. I was tempted to try to remind myself, and then I don't want to waste more years. Yeah, I think I do understand why you would want to reread it. And I think perhaps maybe it could work in some cases. For example, if you're romanticizing the relationship or the experience that you've had with the narcissist, then what I would say to you is probably, I would say to you is protect yourself from it now. And then maybe when you feel a little bit stronger, then possibly, yeah, like maybe, yeah, reread it, I would say. Okay, Lewis. So, lasting abuse, BPD, lasting abuse. Okay, so Lewis, I'm going to be answering your question now. Okay, so what I would say to you is borderline personality disorder, ultimately, like with narcissistic personality disorder, what we're talking about is two personality disorders. Okay. There are a lot of similarities, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I'm just going off what I kind of know. So it not everyone may agree, and that's absolutely fine. But what we're talking about here is a personality disorder. It's an axis one disorder. So it's quite a serious mental health disorder, particularly if it is pathological, and perhaps, particularly if this person has been diagnosed with this. So personality disorders are basically discrepancies in interpersonal relationships, or how this person relates to you. For a lot of it, it is kind of like a dysfunctional ego. So, whichever way you're going to look at it, okay, the abuse, the damage that is done is going to be very similar to a narcissist, okay, because both, and I think, do not quote me on this because I don't know if I'm making this up or if I've read this somewhere. I actually don't know right now. I feel like the borderline personality disorder is now part of the dark triad, or it's part of cluster B personality diagnosis. I will have to double check that because I'm not 100% sure if it is, but it is p- particularly quite similar to how the narcissist behaves, or how the narcissist would leave lasting. Oh, it is. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much. Yeah. So if it's a cluster B, then it's in the same category as a narcissist, as a sociopath, as a psychopath. So these are all quite Like, these are quite serious personality disorders that we're talking about. So, there might be overlaps, but remember, personality disorder is an umbrella term. There are discrepancies, but I'm not saying there's huge, huge ones. Okay. Like a narcissist may overlap with a psychopath, or a psychopath might overlap some of the tendencies with a sociopath. Ultimately, all of these behaviors are toxic, are damaging. And so the way that we respond to those tendencies, to those behavioral tendencies, is going to be the same. So if you've got a psychopath who is gaslighting you, okay, they're not, I understand that they are more devoid of empathy, so they're not going to feel how you are, whereas a narcissist might have little levels of empathy, so they might not go to the same level as, say, a psychopath would. But if you're being gaslighted, you're being gaslighted, so the effects are going to be the same. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Dennis says, yeah, it's an overlap. Because ultimately we're talking an umbrella term of personality. So it's like also like anxiety. It's an umbrella term, but then you've got panic attacks. Then you've got social anxiety, for example. You've got different tendencies like overthinking, like shortness of breaths and all of this. Ultimately, it's it's not so much in the diagnosis or in the little intricacies. It's about how they make you feel, how that is making you feel. So there are going to be similarities. I hope that's answered your question. Okay, so how do you rebuild self-esteem and your identity? So, what I would say here is small daily actions to explore your personal preferences. That's basically ultimately getting to know yourself, such as choosing a favorite activity or exploring a hobby that you've been interested in. So that's really getting to know yourself, okay, to understand yourself. I also would say suggest trying affirmations of self compassion, exercises. Guys, also, if you go on to my website, I've got a free self-compassion visualization meditation, absolutely free for you to download. So get on over onto my website. The link is in the description box, so do check it out. It's absolutely free. You could also try writing a letter to yourself, like for example, dear Anoushka, um, I forgive you for behaving the way that you did, or I forgive you for what has happened. I just wanted to say that I love you and I think you're enough, like something like that, something that's acknowledging your worth and validating your experience. So these are great kind of actions that you can take to help you to reconnect to yourself and help you to move forward. Okay, another part of this, I could go on like for a 3 or 4 hour live, but honestly, I think we've got long now. I think we've got like 10, 15 more minutes. Um, the other part of this, what I wanted to say to you guys is the hyperthinking and the overthinking and the hypervigilance is like next level as well, because you are always so hyper focused, hyper vigilant on what's going on around you. You start to overthink things. You think that everyone's out to get you. Um, but hypervigilance is a state of heightened awareness. Now, if you think about it, if you've been gaslighted, you've been lied to, of course you're going to be thinking this. Of course, this is how you are going to be feeling. So you feel like you're constantly on guard. You're constantly anticipating possible emotional attacks from everyone, like literally everyone. People who probably wouldn't have done it to you before, but they do now. Okay. But the narcissist does do that. So in the relationship with the narcissist, there's the unpredictability, which becomes quite normal. You never know where you stand. You're always walking on eggshells. So what happens is this conditions you to be alert, okay, to the subtle signs of anger, disappointment, or manipulation, because this is your way of protecting yourself to think, okay, so what's the next step? What's the next thing that is going to happen? So, and this is again really, really damaging. So how does hypervigilance lead to overthinking? So you'll find yourself that you're literally over analyzing every single interaction. You're second guessing their actions. Okay, you're wondering perhaps maybe if you had said something, or maybe you've done something wrong. And what happens is this leads to mental replays of the conversation, or the situation that has taken place. And what you tend to do is you start to look for hidden meanings or signs of potential conflict. Now, if this is happening on a daily, okay, this is the overthinking is going to drain your mental energy and make it really difficult for you to relax. And what happens is this will lead to sleep disturbances, fatigue, and challenges with your own decision making. So you're going to struggle to enjoy everyday experiences because your mind is always on high alert. And you guys know as well as I do, how bad is that? Like, the overthinking is just the worst thing ever. So, goodness, hold on. I'm just trying to like go through this. So, what can you do to reduce? The first thing that I would say is ground yourself. This is like, for example, focusing on your breath or your five senses, to help you to calm the mind when overthinking begins. So, this is really about sensory activities that are going to really help you to calm your mind, because what you have to do is you have to direct your attention away from the stimulus, so that means away from the overthinking, the narrative that's going on in your mind. So, that's directing the attention. Using your senses. This is why I always say, my friends, go for a walk, like get out into nature, like really just pay attention, like ground yourself in the present moment, because that is what is going to really help you. So ultimately, this is about you putting yourself, okay, and your senses, calming your mind, because when overthinking begins, maybe you could have like a routine, or maybe certain things that you can do that will really help you in this scenario. Also, I would say another thing that would really help is setting a time limit for reflective thinking every day. So perhaps like 10 to 15 minutes, perhaps. It doesn't have to take over your life, but if you're going to do if overthinking has taken over your life, what I would say to you is set an alarm, like, I don't know, on your watch or on your mobile. It's like 10, 15 minutes, and you've got 10, 15 minutes to think about, like the overthinking, and just literally just think about just that. And then when the alarm goes off, that's it, stop. So what you're doing is you're priming your mind, you're conditioning your mind, all right, to know that this happens at certain time points, not all the time. Because remember, if you're overthinking, what you're doing is you're reinforcing those neural pathways, and you're strengthening them to continue to overthink. And we don't want that, do we, my friends? We do not want that to happen. Okay. And what I also want you to do if you are overthinking is I want you to practice reassurance. All right. Self reassurance by recommending yourself that you are safe and that you are in control. And this helps to reduce your anxiety and hypervigilance over time. Okay. How are we doing for time, my friends? Okay. So, it's okay, just write the name with so people can referring to. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? Because I'm going to be on for another 5 more minutes. So, is there any more questions that you guys have? I just wanted to also cover within this PTSD, so that's post-traumatic stress disorder. I also want to cover C-PTSD symptoms and the lingering effects, because I feel like this is another thing. These are another lasting damage what the narcissist does, and it can cause complex PTSD. So, um, so I wanted to like briefly kind of define what complex PTSD is. It's a response to prolonged or repeated trauma. Okay, the trauma I mean by narcissistic abuse. And what happens is that really deeply impacts you and your ability to function, and your ability to be able to relate to others. All right. It causes so many other issues. It's different because, unlike the traditional PTSD, PTSD involves ongoing emotional and relational symptoms. You're going to get emotional flashbacks. You're going to get feelings of shame, and you're going to get feelings with difficulties of self regulation. All right. So, what do emotional flashbacks look like? So that's gonna you're gonna feel like sudden, intense emotions like fear, shame, or anger. This is all gonna come up because these are all triggered by reminders of past abuse. And then to add to that, this is going to lead to emotional numbness. So you're going to find yourself shutting down emotionally as a protective response. And this makes it really hard to reconnect with yourself and others. You're also going to possibly experience self blame and persistent shame. So, this is where you're going to be feeling guilt or shame about the abuse that you have endured or the abuse that you have experienced. You're going to also blame yourself. You're going to say to yourself, well, why didn't I leave sooner? So, this is all about shame. This is all about making you feel a certain way. And then you're going to blame yourself. But what you're not seeing is that this is the narcissist's responsibility, not yours. So you're going to end up blaming yourself. And this is why complex PTSD manifests itself for so much longer in people's lives than it should do. Okay. So, how do you cope with CPTSD symptoms? The thing is, it's a process. This isn't going to just happen over a week or two. This is a process because what you got to do is again, my friends, you've got to prime your mind. You've got to work your mind. You've got to create new neural pathways. All right. So what I'm going to suggest to you is something like mindfulness. Okay. Do you know what? Again, over on my website, I've got like mindfulness exercises. Also on my Patreon mentorship, I think throughout the whole of September, I've got 30-day of like prompts of how you can change your mindset. And again, these are all prompts within mindfulness practice. It's absolutely free for you to access. So do check it out over on the Patreon mentorship. I think the link is in the description box again, because what happens when you practice mindfulness, this will help you to stay present and it reduces the impact of emotional flashbacks because what you're doing is you're redirecting your attention on something else. So you got to be smart. You got to be clever, my friends. You got to be clever how you do this, right? This is about you not allowing your thoughts to run away with you, but what you do is you bring them back gently and compassionately. And what you do is you start doing these mindfulness exercises. All right. This is all about practicing self compassion and reframing your thoughts around self blame. Um, Things that will really help with that will be something like affirmations like, I did my best, in a difficult situation, which you did. And that is the truth. That isn't a lie or that isn't like make believe. You did your best in such a difficult situation. What were you supposed to do? You did your best. That's what you did. So, this is about seeing how resilient you are, how strong you are, how wonderful you are. This isn't about blaming yourself and thinking, oh, you should have, would have, could have. Don't do that. Why would you do that to yourself? Okay. This is about validating you and seeing you for who you really are. Okay. And then also, there is value in seeking support from like a trauma informed therapist or like a trusted support group. Obviously, doing this in this live, being here, so this is about connectedness, okay? Because trauma separates us from others. So it's important for you to connect with others because you might get insights for coping with CPTSD and other things like that. So that will really, really help. Okay. So I just wanted you guys to know that the psychological impact of narcissistic abuse doesn't define your worth or your future. Healing is a journey, and recognizing these mental effects in the first place is a step forward to reclaiming your mental and emotional freedom. You do not need to stay stuck. You will not stay stuck. You will move past this and you will move forward. Okay. Healing is possible. All right. So You will move forward from this. Okay. This is about seeing this in a completely different way. Okay. And believing in yourself. That is what is important. So, my friends, I really hope that this live has helped you to kind of see things in a different perspective, see things in a different way. And I really hope that this has given you some idea and some ways for you to be able to move forward. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you have found value in this. And I and Yang will see you next week on the live stream. Thank you so much for being here, my friends. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it. And I wish you guys a wonderful week. Um, the content of the live, I'm not sure what the title will be, but do check it out on the channel and do check the on the community tab, because I will obviously put it on there. But thank you guys, all of you, for being here, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.